Welcome to the APA 7th Edition Basics Workshop. APA 7th Edition was released in October 2019. APA style provides one of several standardized ways to present information. It is commonly used by the science and social science disciplines. It is best to use the most current edition unless your instructor indicates otherwise. In this workshop, you are challenged to learn the common tasks related to formatting using APA style, identify basic components of a bibliographic citation, list the information for in-text citations, and identify resources for assistance. Why do we need to learn APA style and citing? Because APA style provides one standardized way to present information. It gives credit to the work others have completed, provides your reader with a roadmap to your information sources, increases your credibility, helps you avoid plagiarism, and results in a higher grade for you. You will need to provide citations for ideas that are not your own, such as for direct quotations, paraphrasing of a quotation, passage, or idea, summary of another's idea or research, specific reference to a fact, figure, or phrase. You do not need to cite common knowledge. For example, George Washington was the first president of the United States. When in doubt, cite your source. It is better to oversight than to undercite in your project. The 3 tasks you need to do when creating a project using APA style includes creating in-text citations. In-text citations allows a reader to identify the evidence or sources you use while reading your document. Including a reference page of all the sources you use provides additional information about your sources that are not included in the in-text citations. You will also need to format your document according to the style. General formatting rules indicate such things as margins, font, spacing, cover pages, headings, and reference page formatting rules. There is a formatting checklist available to you in the Academic Support Services Canvas environment and on the library's website. While many students will not use headings, there are a few courses that may need to use headings in their projects. These courses will most likely only use the first 3 heading styles, and they are represented on the checklist. Your reference page will be an important part of your project since it lists all your sources of information. It is a separate page with the word references listed as the title in the center as seen in the example here. Your sources are listed in alphabetical order with the first line hanging over subsequent lines. This is called a hanging indent. All your source citations need to provide the information necessary for the type of source it is. We will cover these citations in greater detail. Now we introduced you to document formatting. We are going to talk about the citations on your reference page. The following slides will include many examples to highlight how to create and format bibliographic citations. Although you will see many examples, they are provided as repetition to help you understand the basic components of a citation. There is no need for you to memorize all these details. Instead, look for patterns and recognize the differences between citations for different formats. Your reference page includes citations for every source you listed in alphabetical order. These citations provide information so the reader can find your sources. The citations provide information that answers the who, what, when, and where questions about your sources. Although all citations have things in common, such as the author, publication year, and title, some sources require additional details to effectively identify them. There is a brief handout available to you in the Academic Support Services Canvas environment and on the library's website that provides examples of citations for different types of sources. A citation for a book has the least amount of components, which makes it a good starting point. You see the formula and an application of the formula on this slide and most other slides. There are 4 components needed to create a citation for a book: author, publication year, title, and publisher. You will also want to take a look at the formatting for the citation. The author's name is presented last name comma, space, first initial, period. The publication year is next and is displayed in parentheses. A period follows most components. The title of the book is italicized. Capitalization rules indicate you only capitalize the first word of the title and subtitle and any proper nouns. There is a colon in between the title and the subtitle instead of a period. Then the publisher name follows the title with a period at the end. This slide includes an example for a journal article with a DOI. DOI is an acronym for Digital Object Identifier. It acts the same way as a URL. Articles from journals, magazines, and newspapers require additional information compared with a book. The author and year are presented the same regardless of the type of source. We now have two titles we need to indicate: the article title and the publication title. Like the title of a book, the publication title is italicized, since that is what we would see if we were looking at the physical cover of a journal. You will also need to add a volume and issue number and indicate the page numbers the article can be found on. Not all publications use both volume and issue numbers. If it only uses one or the other, you do not need to worry about the missing component. Notice that the issue number is displayed in parentheses with a comma after it and before the page numbers. This slide shows an article citation for articles you can find online or in a library database. The only difference is there is a URL instead of a DOI. Citations for news articles are similar to journals. You will italicize the name of the website as you would a book title or journal title. Notice you will not only include the publication year, but also the month and day it was published. High-quality news sources indicate a publishing date for the content where it can be easily found. For websites with changing content, it is a good idea to indicate the date you retrieved it, so your reader understands that the content they see may be different from what you cited. Changing content could include wikis, maps, tweets, social media posts, and other online content. So far, every example we have looked at had only one author, but many sources have multiple authors. For sources with 2 to 20 authors, you must list them all. For sources with over 20 authors, you will list the first 19 authors, use ellipses to indicate that you are not including all of them, and list the last author. Ellipses are 3 dots or periods, like you would use if you're shortening a longer quote in your writing. Some sources will not include a specific person who authored the content, but an organization. If there is no person, you would begin the citation with the organization. If no author can be found, you can also start your citation with the title listed instead. Some sources do not include a publication date for content. If you cannot find a date specifying when the content was created or revised, you can use an N period D period to indicate no date. Now that we've introduced you to document formatting and reference page citations, let's move on to in-text citations. In-text citations highlight the evidence you are using to support your ideas, which makes your work more credible. It also ensures that you are not taking credit for the work others have done before you. There are only 3 components you need for in-text citations: author, year, and page numbers. For the 3 components, you do have some options in how you present that information. You can place it all in parentheses, or you can include some of it in your sentence with the remaining components in parentheses. Page numbers are only required for quotes. Let's take a look at some examples. In-text citations correspond with your references and include the author and year either in parentheses or part of your sentence to identify which source supports your paraphrase or summary. This example shows everything in parentheses. Note that it includes an open parenthesis, author's name, comma, space, year, close, parenthesis. Quotes require the page number in addition to the author and publication year. The first example introduces the source as part of the sentence, but the publication year is still included in parentheses. The second example shows everything in parentheses and the page number where the quote can be found. If there are two authors, you must include them both. Notice you can use an ampersand if placing the information in parentheses, but you must write out the word "and" if it is part of a sentence. 3 or more authors gets you a shortcut. You will list the first author and et al. Notice the spacing and the period after AL. You still include a comma, space, publication year as well when including everything in parentheses. Et al. Is a Latin term that means and others. The AL period is required because there are neutral masculine and feminine uses, so the period indicates that it is an abbreviation. If you don't have an author, you can use the title in your in-text citations. If it is a long title, you can shorten it to 1 to 2 words. Your reader will be able to find the remaining title on your references page. I hope this helps to illustrate how your in-text citations and your reference page citations work together. Now that we have introduced you to document formatting, reference page citations, and in-text citations, we will end with resources that help you create an APA-style project. The following tips and resources include technology and human-based resources to help you with APA style. If you use high-quality resources to find your sources, such as the WCC Library's databases, they create the citation for you. All you need to do is copy and paste it into your references page. If a database hasn't updated the citation to 7th edition, it is easier to edit it than create a citation yourself. Pasting it into your document is much easier than typing it yourself or going to another resource to create the citation. Our library catalog, also called OneSearch, can also generate citations for physical items in the library or digital resources either found in our databases or through open access web repositories. For items that you didn't find in the library's catalog or various databases, you can find citation generators online. Some have heavy ads and are automated to pull the components from the web, and some you manually enter the components, but both can help you create APA formatted citations. Be sure to verify which edition of APA it uses and edit your citation if needed. There are numerous websites that provide helpful reminders, explanations, and examples of APA style. We have provided a link to a 2-page citation guide that pairs well with our checklist. You can find templates that do much of the formatting checklist for you and provide citation examples. We will link these in the resource section of the Canvas page for this workshop. You can find videos on YouTube to help you, such as how to create hanging indents on your reference page. Word and Google Docs have features that can help you too. There are also browser extensions that you may find helpful, such as MyBib. You can also get assistance from a human, such as a librarian, to help you with APA style. You can make an appointment that suits your schedule through our online booking system. Quick questions that require limited conversation can be asked using the Ask a Librarian form. APA assistance can also be found in the Student Success Center. Your instructor is also a great resource, especially for formatting preferences that may or may not align with the current APA style guidelines. We covered document formatting, reference page citations, in-text citations, and resources to support your creation of an APA style project. If you made it this far, you will be rewarded with some bonus APA tips before we end the workshop. When writing your paper, use they, them, or their as singular pronouns instead of he or she. If you were familiar with APA 6th edition, you may be wondering about the running header. In 7th edition, the running header is no longer required for student papers, but you still need to include page numbers in the header. In APA 6th, 2 spaces after a period was used, but now the style indicates to use 1 space after a period. In case you feel like your creativity is dampened by Times New Roman as the only font you can use, technically you can use other fonts that are classified as either serif or sans serif, but Times New Roman is easier to remember, and most instructors are used to that being the requirement. To conclude this workshop, now is a good time to reflect on what you should have learned from watching this workshop. You were challenged with learning the common tasks related to formatting using APA style, identifying basic components of a bibliographic citation, listing the information needed for in-text citations, and identifying resources for assistance. If you missed something, you may need to review. Although APA style has a lot of rules and details, do not feel like you have to memorize all of them. With an understanding of the basics and resources you can use, you will be able to apply the rules to your projects. The library has a copy of the APA 7th edition style guide if anything comes up that we can't find an answer to in other sources. We hope you find this workshop on APA 7th edition helpful. Please take the survey embedded in the Canvas page to help us improve our future presentations and library experiences for students. We want to know what you think. The WCC Library is here to help you, regardless of your location or world events. See you later!